Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to What's for Dinner. Hope you guys are doing fantastic.
Yes.
And I'm Mark. I'm a certified health coach, and this is Teresa. She's a board-certified family nurse practitioner. And we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about hormones and metabolic health. So, in case I've ever forgotten to tell everybody this before, but I might have missed this, but this is not medical advice that we're giving out here tonight. Right. So if you have any kind of questions that are medical in nature, make sure you reach out to your highly trained and knowledgeable healthcare provider for that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So also wanted to give a welcome to any of those folks who are watching who are new.
Yay.
They've never watched us before. So we're excited to have you, and hopefully you'll find this information tonight valuable. So the theme for tonight we're going to talk about is going to be breaking down the strongholds of keto misinformation.
I'm always for breaking strongholds.
Yes. So as you guys probably already know, if you're already kind of in this space and you've been around keto, low carb, or carnivore for any length of time, you know that there's a tremendous amount of misinformation, false information, a lot of people trying to steer you away from eating this way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. We'll get into some of those reasons today, but just understand that there is a lot of misinformation to sift through.
There is a concerted effort.
There is for sure
to continue the misinformation.
Yeah, in some cases it's a conflict of interest for people. In other cases, they just don't really know. The people that are out there giving the misinformation, they don't understand this way of eating, this lifestyle that we talk about. So yeah, you just have to be careful with that.
Yep.
So I want to start off by telling everybody here tonight, and I'm going to reiterate this later on as well. If you're starting a weight loss program, if you're starting to take some sort of an injection for weight loss, if you're seeing a provider for weight loss, if you're doing any of those kind of things, and that individual or that program is not addressing these three things, I want you guys to do this. I want you to turn around and run away as fast as you can, okay? The first thing is, if a program is not addressing food addiction, you're going to end up going, if you're not able to overcome that addiction and avoid whatever it is that offending ingredient or that offending food or that offending substance is, if you're going to keep going back to it, you're never going to get past your addiction. Okay. So you can't keep doing it. So that's one thing. The other two things kind of go hand in hand: hunger and satiety. If you're not addressing hunger, satiety, for those of you who may not already know, that just means the feeling of being full. Yep. Okay, you're satiated or you're satisfied with your food. That's where it kind of comes from. If you're not addressing hunger, and you're going around and let's say you're going on a diet and you're getting hungry all the time, you're going to fail. I hate to say that, but you will fail, because in the end, hunger always wins. And I've said this time and time again: hunger always wins. So you really have to watch out.
It's a survival instinct.
Yeah,
you can't outdo your survival instincts.
Yes. So the solution to all this, all these problems is to learn as much as you can. Go on podcasts, read articles, do your own research, and do it on yourself. Get a continuous glucose monitor.
Yes.
Put it on your arm. Wear it for a couple of weeks. Eat foods and keep track of the foods that you're eating using a food diary or food log, and then see where you're at any given time when you're eating certain foods.
Yep.
And the best way to do that, just really quick too, is when you put on a continuous glucose monitor, take everything that you normally eat out of your diet, okay? Out of the way. Just take it all out. And start, if you're interested, this is if you're interested in keto, low carb, carnivore. Start eating meat and meat only. After you've been eating meat for a couple of days, start adding in different things, and add them in one at a time and start looking and seeing what they do. Because if you sit there and you eat a big plate of food and it's got 15 different things on it, for your one meal that you ate that day, then it's going to be hard to sift through what it is that's causing what, right? Yeah. Hopefully that all makes sense. But anyway, also, getting in a community. So Low Carb USA, there's a number of different communities, or get with a friend, somebody else who maybe already is doing this, and do this together. We talked about this the other day, is developing a partnership, getting into a support group of some sort, and you can learn off of each other, that way as well. So did you have anything you wanted to add to that? All right. So what I'm going to do is today I've got a couple of articles here. One of them, the first one I'm going to go is from shape.com, SHAPE.com.
I used to buy that magazine all the time.
Yeah, they're an online publication, and basically it's dietary, nutritional, and fitness information. Or I'm going to actually go out on a limb here and say misinformation. Now, to start, I did go on the website today and I did search around a little bit, and at a glance, just touching over it, I didn't see any major conflicts of interest, but I didn't see who was funding the site or how they were getting money. But when I say there was no conflict of interest, all I meant is when I went to the different articles that were there on the website, I didn't see them promoting any kind of products or, services or anything like that. It was just straight up articles. Now, what I did see that stood the hair up on the back of my neck a little bit was they were just parroting government guidelines. Okay. The reason it made the hair stand up on the back of my neck is because government guidelines are part of the reason, most of the reason, I think, why we are where we are today, is when government started getting involved in the business of dietary recommendations. All of these organizations started piggybacking off of that, and they started following that guidance. And that guidance is going to point you in the wrong direction every time. Here's why. It's promoting plant-based food, like cheap plant-based food-like products that are going to make you sick. So it's corn, wheat, soy, and other things like that. Okay. So it's going to get you into trouble if you follow those guidelines. All right. Did you have anything you wanted to add on that? Okay. So go back to Shape. Sorry, I digressed a little bit. I tend to do that. So this article from Shape was titled "Drawbacks of a Carnivore Diet." So there's just some bullet points here that I don't have the whole article. So I'm just going to go over these bullet points that they made these statements in this article, and I'm going to counter some of them with some of our own information here. Okay, so bear with me here. So the first drawback, according to shape.com, was nutrient deficiencies. Okay, so let me ask you all this. If you're eating a nutrient-dense, whole food, and species-appropriate and ancestrally appropriate diet, how are you missing out on ingredients? Listen, if you go to the grocery store and you shop around the outside perimeter, so you go to the meat, the deli, the butcher, the cheese, the eggs, the milk, all the stuff that we've been eating since man was man, since Jesus wore sandals, like all of that stuff they're trying to tell you that's nutrient deficient. I want to know how. Now, there are some things in that outside perimeter we can do without, like bread and some fruits, especially if they're out of season, but I don't get it. This is bizarre to me. So that's just one of many.
And when we started carnivore, I was able to get off a lot of those, like zinc and B12, and I'm still just on stuff to reverse the calcium in my coronaries from a scan, but that's not true.
Absolutely. This one blew my mind. And I honestly, when I was reading this earlier, it caused all my hair to fall out.
You can excitable see tonight.
Oh, I'm fired up with this because I'm going to get to it, because this stuff is predatory. What they're doing is they're honing in on people's ignorance and their lack of understanding in this, and they're scaring people off from being able to make effective changes in their lives that are going to help them for the rest of their lives.
Go ahead.
And so this really bothers me. It chaps my rear end. Okay. Yeah. So inflammation, that's all. That's what they say. So what they're saying is that a drawback of a carnivore diet is inflammation. Let me tell you something. The carnivore keto low carb community came about from back in the early 1900s, when kids were able to have their epilepsy, their seizures reversed because of this way of eating. This is the most anti-inflammatory diet you can possibly ask for. It's the exact opposite. This is bizarro world, what they put down here. I have no idea what they're talking about. Low carb, keto, and carnivore are the ultimate anti-inflammatory diets. Yep. Don't give me any of that. I'm going to eat the rainbow. I'm going to eat all this other stuff and make my inflammation go down. It's the ultimate. Okay. Yep. So this one, gastrointestinal issues and discomfort. Now, I can get on board with this one for a very short period of time. Let me explain something. Early on in your keto journey, when you're a sugar burner and you're used to eating certain types of plant-based food-like products, your stomach, you have probiotics, and they use a fermentation process to break down the foods that you're eating, right? And so that's what gives you the gas and the bloating and all that other kind of discomfort that you get. It's part of that process. And some plants and different foods are worse than others. Yeah. But with a carnivore, low carb, keto way of eating, you eliminate those and you're repopulating your gut bacteria with bacteria that are beneficial for the types of foods you're eating. And you change your gut bacteria, your gut microbiome to use enzymes versus probiotics or probugs to break down the foods that you're eating. So it's an enzymatic process, not a fermentation process. So early on, you're going to possibly get some discomfort. It goes along with the keto flu, which we're going to talk about in a little while. But over a long period of time, your stomach is going to feel much better unless you have some sort of another issue going on.
Well, no, but I mean, it's good for autoimmune. It's good for Crohn's and IBS. I mean, those are all inflammatory. You're out of the picture on one phone.
Sorry.
But that's good for all those inflammatory diseases. I mean, there's been lots of people, thousands.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, the next one, mental fog and fatigue. Okay, so again, early on, I mentioned the keto flu. So early on, when you're first getting into ketosis and your body hasn't adapted to it yet, yes, you can feel you can get some mental fog and some lack of clarity with your thinking, but that can be rectified through a little bit of supplementation with magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And it can also be rectified through drinking things like pickle juice, which has the sodium in it and whatnot. So the bottom line is yes, but that passes. And then afterwards, when you become fat adapted and you're using ketones, that's actually a much cleaner and more efficient fuel. And your brain especially can use ketones very effectively, and you can be very sharp and have tremendous mental acuity when you're using ketones for fuel.
Your heart too.
So this is just really sad what they said, because it's taking a small sliver of truth, but it's perverting it and contorting it the way it shouldn't be, and it's too bad. And this one, we are all the way at the end. I'm going to let you talk to this one, but this is another one.
Oh yeah, increased heart disease. But fear mongering is the best tactic we have to keep people in line. And so again, it's just heart disease. Like, it's going to cause heart disease. Remember that my sister was here for 10 days a couple weeks ago, and I fed her steak and burgers every single night. And not one night did I ever think, boy, she's going to die of heart disease. Not once.
Yeah, for sure. The next one we spoke about at length the other night, very restrictive. I mean, listen, if you think that giving up all the garbage that you're eating is restrictive, but you can turn around and eat as much meat as you want to, like literally, and I'm taking this from Dr. Tro Kalayjian, fantastic obesity medicine doctor, does this day and night, like sleeps this stuff. Okay. Super smart guy. When he puts somebody else on, or one of his patients on this way of eating that we're talking about here, he literally tells them that you can eat as much of these foods as you want to throughout the day and you eat it according to how hungry you are. If you're hungry, eat food.
Yep.
Tell me another way of eating that you can actually do that with. Please, if anybody has an idea, put it in the comments, because I want to know. That's a unicorn. We need to study it. We need to examine it. So please capture it for us.
But nobody eats something different 365 days. So that to me is code for food addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the last one, this is a total joke. I don't even know where this came from. Requires primarily cooking at home.
Oops.
What? As if that's bad? Okay, so saving money and knowing what's in my food is bad. Look, we even fell into that trap before. I've told people before on these videos, we fell into the trap. We were going to Longhorn. We thought we were doing fantastic at Longhorn, and it was these sweet waiters and waitresses that we had that when they figured out how we were eating, they dialed us in on some of the Longhorn. So I love to get Parmesan crusted Longhorn steak there. It's fantastic. Okay, I didn't know until I was told that they were actually putting breadcrumbs in the Parmesan crust. So I was like, okay. So now when I get it made, I tell them to leave the breadcrumbs out.
But why would there be breadcrumbs in Parmesan crust?
Well, it did taste really, 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 really good. Now it tastes really good, but it tasted, I had to put 5 reallys in there.
Yeah.
And the other one was butter. We didn't know some of the butters that they were giving us were not butter. And
most restaurants are not real butter.
Right. So now we're just smart enough to ask. So anyway.
And then you said when we were first talking about this, I like eating at home. I sit at work and I dream about coming back to my house because I'm an introvert and this is where I want to be. But you said, of course they're going to say that because the enemy, and you know who we serve, you can see on my shirt, the enemy the enemy hates children. So the enemy is always trying to destroy families. And so by saying this, you're not encouraging family dinners at your house at night, everyone's sitting around the table, engaging in conversation, which I thought was a very good.
Speaking of eating at home, I forgot to mention what we're having for dinner tonight, and it's just steak, eggs, and bacon. It's like just a go-to. The only other thing we might do on a traditional night is a burger instead of a steak.
Yeah, we have somewhere to be tonight, so we're just doing something simple and easy.
All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. No.
I think you're going to have to do a part 2. Whoa.
Okay, we're done with that one.
I would not do this.
Oh, we're going to do a part 2 to this video?
Well, it's already 15 minutes.
I think we can get through this. I think we can do this good.
I don't think you realize how long you talk.
So this next one is by I won't even mention the name. Okay. We went on the website, we stalked her, and, but it's a female personal trainer / nutritionist on there, and just the same kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and just hit some of these bullet points. Everyone's jumping on the keto bandwagon, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Thank goodness.
So it's hurting them. I'm just highlighting it. She's basically saying that the keto way of eating is hurting people more than it's helping, especially for women going through hormonal changes. Okay. So what I see here, and I see this over and over, is the old gym bro, eat less, move more, eat anything you want to eat in moderation, but control it by moderation. Okay. again, you haven't addressed food addiction or hunger and satiety. How can you get to eating? How can you limit what it is and how much you're going to eat when you're eating your drug of choice? How are you supposed to do that?
Ask alcoholics how they do it.
Yeah.
They don't.
So, and then, everything in moderation, everything that we just talked about there, about the eat less, move more, et cetera, has totally failed. The last multiple decades, we've been following the same old tired advice, and it has not worked. Since 1970 or 1971, we've been doing this, and it's been an abysmal failure. Okay. So, again, she goes to hormonal imbalance. Extreme carb cutting can wreak havoc on your thyroid and cortisol levels, leaving you feeling burnt out, tired, and struggling to lose weight. Women over 40 need balanced carbs to maintain hormone health. Okay. So, go ahead.
True. You need fat to make hormones, number one, and thyroid and cortisol is not affected, I don't think, in my experience, by low carb. Fasting can affect cortisol and thyroid. So like Mark has trouble when we're doing a spiritual need a prayer answered 3-day fast, he has a lot of trouble. After about the first day, he can't sleep. I can't sleep on the first day either, but he gets, can I just say irritable?
Yeah. It's a constant fight or flight response. Yeah. I can feel it. I feel jacked up, almost like I'm getting ready to get into a fight with somebody. Yep. And so I have that heightened level of awareness and all that going through. But here's what I can do to correct that is if I'm going to bed at night and I'm worried about not sleeping, I can eat a little bit of protein and I'll sleep fine. Right. So we figured that out. Not carbs. I eat protein and I'm totally fine with that.
And then thyroid, fasting can drop your thyroid level transiently. And then once you eat again, it comes back up. But carbs don't do that. Like there's nothing magical about carbs. You will survive without them. You won't survive if you don't eat fat or protein. Yeah.
And then the other part of that was cholesterol. So actually we know that cholesterol is vital in the formation of hormones right now. So, if you're eating a diet or a way of eating that doesn't have cholesterol in it, dietary cholesterol, you kind of eat, or better yet, how about they put you on a statin and they block your body from even being able, because if you don't eat cholesterol and you're like me, my body's going to crank out all the cholesterol it needs. Yeah. It makes it on its own. Yeah. I'm a lean mass hyperresponder, which we won't get into all that, but it makes plenty of cholesterol, trust me. But if you take a statin, guess what? It blocks all that. Okay.
And then men's testosterone drops.
Through the bottom. Okay. Next is going to be, this is a great one, muscle loss. Keto might help you lose weight on the scale, but most of that loss is lost muscle and water, not fat. This sets you up for long-term weight gain and slower metabolism. Okay. So let me explain this. If you're eating keto, carnivore, or low carb, you're prioritizing high quality meats and high quality protein. That's what and we've talked about this ad nauseum about how to, this is the ultimate protein sparing diet, meaning when you're eating enough protein, which you are eating this way, then you're going to spare the loss of muscle. That's where these yo-yo diets fail, is because they get you on these programs and you're restricting your macros, which includes protein. Remember, macros are protein, fat, carbs. You're restricting all of them, including protein. Then you lose muscle mass while you're doing this yo-yo diet. You lose 30 or 40 pounds. Half of it is your muscle. Then when you finally get hungry because you're starving yourself constantly and you go back onto your binge eating again and eating the way you were eating before, you put all your fat back on, but you lost all the muscle.
Yep.
So now you're in a worse condition than you were when you started it. Yep. So, I mean, come on, just stop it with this. Okay. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Unsustainable. Okay. So we did a whole video on sustainability a couple of days ago. Let's be honest. How long can you actually cut out carbs? Most women end up binging or gaining weight right back when they finally reintroduce carbs. Okay, so let's not reintroduce carbs. How about we just make a lifestyle change, because we recognize addiction, satiety, and hunger, and we're trying to address those. If you're an addict, I'll say this again, are you going to ever go back to drinking your beer or smoking your pot or whatever it is you were addicted to? Are you going to go back to doing that when you feel better after you've gone a little while without it? You can't. So it's the same thing with food.
Yeah. And I know, because I'm an addict and because we still choose to indulge about 6 times a year, I can easily have leftovers the next day if we've indulged the day before. And then I ruminate about food for it's usually about 10 to 14 days. And then I settle back down and my panties get out of a bunch and I'm fine again. But that's an addict. And I've been doing this for 7 years. That's the power of addiction. That's why cocaine addicts don't go back and have a line every so often, because it's hard to moderate.
Yeah. Yeah. So remember, just the takeaway from this, guys, is this is a lifestyle change, a lifestyle modification, a behavior change. And this should be looked at as permanent. A diet indicates a start and an end point. We're not dieting here, guys. We're promoting a lifestyle. This should be something that you can do and you can sustain for the rest of your life. So, and then that was it. There was some more stuff here, but I'm not going to go into any more of it and whatnot. So I think we pretty much covered it.
I think this person, by looking at their Facebook page and stuff, I think they're getting paid and they're a paid influencer. So that's the other thing. We're not paid by anybody. And my sweet patient said, I feel you guys give me anxiety. I want you to eat your food and then talk to us.
Yeah, we're sitting here smelling. Our steak is literally sitting right here next to us, one of our steaks,
yeah,
with butter all over it, melting. And you can smell it.
There was one day last week, I was really hungry. I was like, oh gosh, I can't wait. But anyway, nobody's paying us. We're just trying to, we feel like this is our mission field. This is where God put us to try and help and encourage and help you heal. So that's the other thing. You have no way of telling if you're looking at someone's page or YouTube channel, their conflicts of interest or who's paying them. And there's a big concerted effort to get influencers to push out ideas to people.
Yeah, for sure. So just be careful of that and watch out and just watch our videos. If you want to know, like, I mean, it's our truth. We're doing the best we can to make sure we're all telling the truth. And we're not trying to manipulate people in a way that's going to just benefit us. You know, it's going to benefit all you. Right. And the information's out there, guys, and it's free. So anyway, tell us about any stories that you guys have. If you have experience, you know, with this kind of stuff, please, there's other people out there who are watching who aren't commenting and they're just kind of hiding and stalking us in the background.
That's
and
me
it might,
on social media.
That's me too on social media. And so if you never know if you make a comment, how much it could help a person potentially. And if you're new here and you appreciate what we're doing, please consider liking or subscribing to us. And as always, you know, if you guys can give us a little thumbs up, I see a huge one on our screen right now, which thank you so much for that. But just give us the little comments and stars and thumbs up and whatnot.
And also, it doesn't matter what your doctor says. It doesn't matter what your doctor's son-in-law says. It matters what you feel, and it matters what your labs show, and it just matters how you feel. That's all that matters in reversing things and making your life better. That's what matters.
Yep.
So remember to praise God in every season.
I think we made a record tonight for the longest video we've ever done on What's for Dinner. It's about 22 minutes right now, I'm seeing. So anyway, we will let everybody go. And as always,
love you.
Yes, we love you guys so much. And God bless you. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.